Hello, happy solstice. It is the new moon in Sagittarius, the sun and the moon. It's right at the last couple of degrees of Sagittarius. So, what's that mean? Well, Sagittarius wants to be free. They want to say what they think, they want to say the truth. They believe in being direct. They don't want to be restricted in any way. They've gone out and traveled the world and learned or studied, and they've come back to tell you how it is. And they're not usually afraid. And a lot of them just want to have a good time as well. Then, we're heading into Capricorn season where, as I've always said, if you follow my videos over the years, when you switch from Sagittarius to Capricorn, it's sort of like your dad coming home in the middle of your wild party. It's sobering, literally. It sobers you up. It makes you say, okay, time to get back down to work. Or, hey, if I want this crazy dream of mine, there's foundation to build. There's money that it takes. So these last couple degrees of Sagittarius, you might feel like you want to burst. It's like a almost breaking out of jail kind of feeling. You need desperately to do something to bust out of your circumstances. Or if you've been enjoying a nice ride and you do feel free, unrestricted, or you haven't had to work too hard, you can sense that there's some moment coming that you're going to need to face something that will force you to be a little more calm and structured and slow down a little bit if you want it to work. And if you sense that coming, anything that you're sort of in denial of because you want your freedom, and sometimes that can even be like really crappy habits that we have. But I want to keep eating sugar whenever I want it. Well, yeah, but there's consequences for that, and your body might be saying, sorry, can't do that anymore. But that last couple degrees of Sag, well, you feel it coming, but it's not there yet, is it? You still have this chance to have one last wild party before dad comes home. And what I'm seeing in real life in the last few days to a week, and this is partly going to be because of my age that I'm saying this, it's people around me, but it's in the air, this accident prone, pulling muscles, pulling your back, falling down. Because again, like Sagittarius freedom, it wants it wants to do what it wants when it wants it. It doesn't want to wait. It doesn't want to necessarily do it the right way either. It just wants to do it. So maybe you just decide you can climb over that snowbank in the ice. Oops. Maybe you're not being as careful with things. And this isn't everybody, but in the last week, I've seen five people I know that suddenly have to sit down, lie down, cancel plans, and rest. So maybe you're doing that too. Maybe it's not as physical for you. Hopefully, it isn't for you. But it's partly this energy of being very wound up for a long time. I would say we've been sort of wound up since definitely the late fall, late August, but some of you might even say it's just been all year long. This building intensity, building without it really breaking or relieving. And as I've also been sensing, I think we're in a time where we're not going to see like a sudden relief for a while. I think we're in a period of building and changing, building and changing. And so what that means is, you know, a lot of people will be holding out and doing whatever they're doing and hanging on and waiting for it to be over. just go back the way they were. Bit of relief. But this time, the planets and the new year and the number one and the horse are going to say, no, no, don't go back to what you did. That's the number nine. Number 9 year, reviewing and evaluating, and things coming to a long chapter's end. And so the longer you hang on without letting go of something to make your life better, easier, sometimes there's grief involved in letting go of something very often. So we avoid grieving. So we just hang on and wing it, keep going until life stops us. Well, as you get older, life tends to stop you by telling you through your back or your knees or a bad cold or something. And it's better that we don't, right? It's better that you can try to recognize this building intensity and see what can you truly change and go easier on yourself with, or let go of and say, it's okay, I've been hanging on and pushing so hard in this one direction and it hasn't been working for me, and it can feel like a defeat or a failure, even though it's not. In many ways, pushing against ourselves is the failure, isn't it? But we look at the moment when life says, hey, you've been pushing against yourself for so long. Now we need you to sit still. We need you to rest. We need you to take time off work because you've been ignoring the signals and your needs for so long that now we really have to tell you. We have to scream it to you. That's how it works. So the failure is actually continually going against yourself without stopping and letting things get worse, to letting life get to a crisis point. But is that the human condition? Is that the human nature to do so? It seems so. There's been a lot of things I'm seeing lately online about the way humans sabotage themselves, even though we're supposed to be so smart. And it's what we do. So before we head into looking at this chart, just be aware that the dark moon is upon us. Winter solstice is here in a few days. And the darkest day of the year, shortest day of the year. And these planets in Sagittarius just ready to like scream for one last breath of freedom before you have to do something that's going to make you work and sober up and get grounded and budget again, or whatever it is that you've been sort of riding and avoiding. So try to be honest with yourself. Try to be honest with yourself. The more honest you are with yourself, the more you're going to do that shadow work that we all need to do. And if you don't do the shadow work, meaning the things that you're avoiding, the things that are, harder for you, the continual, well, self-sabotage is one form of shadow work. Admitting it to yourself and actively doing your best not to, because it will keep coming up, and it'll come up in various forms. So even little bits of self-honesty help you make better decisions in the right direction for your own well-being and your health, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. So let's use the Sagittarian energy that way. Instead of one last big busting out party, one last binge before you fall down, let's use the Sagittarian energy as the philosopher that it can be, the truth teller that it can be. But this time I'm going to challenge you to tell yourself the truth. So, on that note, welcome to the New Moon in Sagittarius video. If you like this video, if you like my content, please like and share and subscribe. And if you would like to be part of my free ongoing intuition development group, It is called the Intuition Cafe. And um, you can join for free, and it will prompt you to think in certain ways and open up your abilities and prompt you to be more reflective and honest and go into more detail. And I welcome you. So that's on Facebook, and that's right for free. All right, let's take a look at this chart. Let's make it a little larger. Oop, not that big. There we go. All right, so this chart is cast for Eastern time zone. So Montreal, Toronto, New York, Florida. So that means that our new moon has a Leo as its rising sign, which is helpful with all of these planets in Sag. Now, as you can see from the configuration, look at this down here at the bottom, this stellium, and how it's squaring off with Neptune and Saturn. This is why things feel quite amped right now. A major mutable square. Everything's changing. Everyone's changing. Plans are changing. I'm changing. I don't know my up from my down, my right from my left. Things are quite intensely emotional at times, but also Neptune squaring off with anything can be self-sabotaging or deceptive, self-deceptive or deceptive with others. So we're going to get into that a little bit more. But look at the overall configuration. What strikes me when I first looked at this chart was just how it looks like there's this open door here. All the planets make a configuration almost like a hand going munch, 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 munch. And it looks like that open mouth, if you will, is facing the rising sign. So that's interesting. So all of this accumulation of things that you've been holding is like needs a voice, needs to come out of your mouth. And it's on the rising sign, the Sagittarian planets, although it doesn't draw the line. Here you see 23 degrees Leo. Here we've got the Venus at 24 Sag and the Sun and Moon at 28 Sag. So that means they're making a trine to the Leo ascendant. It's a great time to tell the truth, actually. It's a great time to show your enthusiasm. Maybe there's a little less tact when it comes to Sag, because truth telling is, as the saying goes, brutally honest, right? Well, you can be honest without being brutal. Sagittarius will just sort of say things as they are, and it can come out a bit brutal at times, even if it's not wrong. And with Leo rising, there could be a lot of bold statements being made, a lot of, and some of them might be true and some of them might be just, aggrandized and over exaggerated or domineering. But it's very potent for self-expression when all of this cluster has a voice by being trined and directly channeled out the rising sign. So Leo rising with all that Sag behind it. Well, are you seeing leadership? Are you seeing enthusiasm? Are you seeing, aspects of people being more noble than usual? That's a possibility too. And then the other possibility is, of course, like I said, blurting things out and being bossy or domineering, or being very righteous in the way you call people out. We have to be careful of that. So Venus also adding to the Sun and Moon and Sag. Like I said, that freedom, it's so intense right now because the Moon is your needs. The Sun is just who you are. And Venus is your desires. They're all in Sagittarius. Perhaps you're just considering whether to go good old vacation right now. Maybe some of you are just thinking about how you can escape your current circumstances because uh, all of that Sagittarius has like a wanderlust for sure. Maybe you're contemplating, going back to school, studying. And it doesn't have to be formalized school. It could be anything because Sag is also the philosopher, can represent higher learning. So institutions like universities, colleges, but also just studying of philosophy or reading, maybe you're studying stuff in your own time. That can be a strong, strong need or passion as well. Some of you, it'll translate into the physical activity side of Sag. Some of you might be contemplating exercise programs or marathons or climbing mountains. Because if I saw somebody born on that day with this chart, I would fully expect them to be climbing things. I would fully expect them to be a track and field star or runner. And if they are not, it would be because of the Neptune Saturn squaring, which means circumstances in their life would have sabotaged it or prevented it, which could turn out in almost the exact opposite to somebody who, as I said, prone to injuries and accidents, prone to going too hard, too fast, too much, and then oh crap, then they twist an ankle, or or rougher things than that. We won't say what. Now, as you know, I like to bring in current events and news into the charts. I'm utterly sick of talking about Mr. Trump, and I think the world is as well. And we don't have any, we don't have too many more illusions about who this guy is and isn't. So I'm not going to go into him anymore. But it is heartbreaking to see the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife by their son. Just horrifically heartbreaking. I don't know a lot about the story of the son besides what's coming out in the last few days about mental health challenges and the parents, trying to do whatever they could. I'm sure this is going to open a huge national debate on mental health all over again. And the fact that this is a high profile, beloved Hollywood person that this is happening to, maybe it takes that before people are willing to extend the conversations that need to happen about mental health care in our society. So it's in line with, even though it happened a couple days ago before this chart, these squares are still there. I mean, these planets move pretty slowly when it comes to, and there's 25 degrees, 29. They would all still be, these squares were all there when this double murder happened. And Saturn and Neptune in Pisces squaring off all that Sag, all that mutable. It sadly, it sadly sort of makes sense in a way that there's going to be a mental health breakdown, a deception, a confusing unpacking of a passion, a crime of passion, if you will. And as I said, I just hope that because it's a celebrity that people loved, and more people will be willing and able to extend conversations about how to reform and change things in our society, because we need to desperately. And I don't pretend to have the answers, but whatever we're doing isn't working very well. We've also had two other shootings during this square on Bondi Beach, on Hanukkah, and Brown University. And I'm sure there's others that I'm missing, but these are the ones that came to my attention in the news over and over in the news cycle for North Americans. again, themes of Neptune and Saturn in Pisces are very tricky. I've mentioned them in other videos. So I don't like to get too dark in the videos because people don't want to hear the dark side of stuff. But Saturn and Neptune together in Pisces could be, um, how do I put this? Saturn in Pisces is somebody that often it says might need to be institutionalized if things get to an extreme, because this is a person that feels extremely isolated and does not feel connected to anyone else in the world. They feel completely alone. They're here to learn that that is not true. And so sometimes they will end up institutionalized, and that can mean jails, that can mean mental hospitals. That's the sad, dark side of Saturn and Pisces. It doesn't always play out that way, but that's a darker aspect of it. And I'm bringing it up because we've had such a crazy, heartbreaking week. So, what do you get there is you get a person, whether that's Rob Reiner's son, whether that's shooters in Australia or in Washington, you get people feeling profoundly isolated, and then they are more easy to radicalize into other things. And in the case of Reiner's son, like I said, I don't know his diagnosis, but you don't do things like that unless you feel profoundly in pain and there's some delusion going on that can happen when you feel completely alone and misunderstood for too long. Now, Neptune coming into the factor with Pisces, especially on 29 degrees. This can be very much like a martyr energy in its darkest, sacrificing themselves for something, a cause, another person, sacrificing others on behalf of or to something. It can be very dark in its worst side. It isn't always. So when I see Saturn and Neptune together in Pisces squaring off all the Sag planets, I'm sort of like, eek, somebody somebody in these different crimes thought they were doing uh what they were told to do by someone else, by God, by a higher power, by a spirit. They probably had a very unstable delusional mind. They probably thought they were doing something on behalf of some sort of greater good or a sacrifice that needed to happen. That's my cold read of the chart. And I didn't study up the news on any of these shooters, or I did not. I'm just giving a cold read on what I would expect to find if I do as an aspect of these crimes. Because other crimes happen under different influences and they can be pure rage. It can be some personal vendetta that somebody's very conscious of and goes out there. It's very different than when you get a cult like feeling like Saturn, Neptune, and Pisces, wanting so desperately to belong, feeling so alone, feeling so radicalized. They said that the shooters in Australia were ISIS. So there we go again with organized groups and sacrifices to um, appease, or it's very dark, and it happens here in this chart. Now, though this is not the Australians chart, this is in North America. So it's happening in the eighth house. The other stellium of planets here in Sag is in the fifth. So Anything happening in the eighth house is also extra psychological, extra taboo, extra hidden. Uh, that's why I'm leaning on the very darkest side of what they can mean because it's in the eighth house. So my feeling is we're going to see a lot of things in these recent events replay as themes for a longer time than just a passing news for a week or two. Um, some of these themes have been following us, right? We're in a number 9 year, as I keep saying. Saturn and Neptune have been in Pisces a long time, especially Neptune, and it's about to leave. So this one, this last sweep at 29 degrees before it goes into Aries is a time then where you're revisiting all the years. We're talking, 14 years of martyrdom and sacrifice and idealistic thinking and connected to, in this case, violence. But it's not like we haven't seen this. It's just we haven't seen it from these groups for a while. So it's come back like one last, like I said, these last grab of planets in Sagittarius, the end of Sagittarius, this one last passionate plea, one last party, right? But for some, it's one last party in another direction. Um, what I'm what I'm hoping and feel even slightly hopeful about, I surprisingly, is it feels to me the world is ready to go forward and take stronger action than we have in a long time too. I feel that everybody is uh, utterly weary of hearing the same stories without solutions, of hearing the same people without accountability. And and so hopefully this doesn't turn into harsh solutions and decisions, although it might, but it also might be a time when other systems or decisions are ushered in versus, oh God, how did that happen? Thoughts and prayers once again to so and so. Well, we're all just bloody sick of how trite that sounds, right? What is going to be done? What changes need to actually happen and be maybe legislated, hopefully not in a, like I said, in a darker fascistic way, but what things need to be done? Is any of this preventable? And how can we do it? So I do feel some slight optimism that there is that in the air as well, because that same Saturn and Neptune that is ending, bringing up the last drops of this energy, this radical, delusional, sacrificial energy. And that could be you in your own life too, by the way. That can be like just like people pleasing to the extreme, giving yourself away, not taking your power back to the extreme can be a Saturn and Neptune thing that you've been doing. Oh, just one more bake sale you do for free. No, stop it. Stop sacrificing yourself. So right, that's the energy. It can play out in your personal life with, oh, I'll just be the one that smooths over the argument one more time, even though the person's not respecting your boundary when you've asked 5,000 times, but you give them a gift and smooth it over. Stop it, right? So we've gone into the dark side with these crimes that we're seeing, and those are extreme, but we have to look at how are we doing it. But as I said, there is hope because there's a will to do something about it, and it's because Jupiter in Cancer is over here supporting it. So that means there is a lot of help and compassion and care uh, and support there if you are ready to do something differently. You couldn't get a better aspect than Jupiter in Cancer. Um, it's the most nurturing of all Jupiter positions. So, as long as it doesn't run into, oh, poor them, and just, oh, you know, it was so hard for this guy, let's say, Reiner's son. Oh, like too much pity and enabling is not a good thing. Sometimes Jupiter in Cancer can do that too. But on the good side, it could also be um, like proper care and listening and emotional support is actually there for those that are willing to change and grow right now. So let's bring it back to the personal realm. If you're, let's say the extreme people pleaser I mentioned, Saturn and Neptune, sacrificing yourself for everybody else all the time, sacrificing your peace for other people. Now, Jupiter could accentuate that and make it even stronger. So be careful, like I said, that you're not in the midst of one last hurrah, one last big party. But it's hopefully not a big people pleasing party. It could play out that way. Jupiter will emphasize and support. Um, and if you're in a delusion, it could be supporting the delusion. Best use of it, though, is that you are ready to break free and say, hey, I shouldn't have to play that role all the time. I'm actually not going to give this gift to this person who has disrespected my boundaries 5 times. I'm actually not going to reward bad behavior. Jupiter in Cancer would then sort of be like that mother figure that would say, yes, yes, dear, that's the right thing to do. Respect yourself. So, but in a warm, motherly way. So that, of course, is the best side of things. So if you have been overdoing it, if you, like I said, all the people that I know who have like had to take time off or have fallen down or whatever they've done, every single one has told me that there have been people there to help them and offer to cook meals or drive them somewhere, or all of them have had someone around to help nurture them as they needed it, which is extremely encouraging and great with Jupiter in Cancer there. Uranus is also right here at the end of Taurus. Now, that's going to be a big thing in the new year as it moves to 29 and it moves into Gemini. We're going to really feel this in 2026. Uranus is like the rebel. It's the earthquakes, the little explosions, the little lightning bolts that come along. And it does not like being in the earth sign at all. That's why I've called it little earthquakes all the way along. It does not enjoy being in the earth plane. Uranus is like thunder and lightning. It enjoys being in the air sign. It's going to enjoy being in Gemini. But that means it is going to ramp up so fast compared to what it's been doing. So even though we don't like, this like walk, 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 whoa, landmine, oh my goodness, everything needs to be restructured. Oh, and then it goes underground again. And then, oh, what was that? And there's another one. Now Uranus is going to just be free to fly quick and fast, crazy things that will be introduced to us or announced to us, or the way technology and communications is about to change like lightning speed. This is a huge thing coming for us in the next year. And for now, it is supporting by sextile Jupiter and Saturn Neptune. I mean, the only thing I can say with that is, again, it's a very good time. It's always a good time, but it's an even better time with all the change upon us and the patterns that must be broken for you to do your best to really um, use that Uranus energy to move yourself forward, maybe a bit boldly. Maybe there's some bold decision, or you know what, I'm not doing that. I'm going to quit that. Or you know what, I'm taking a step back from X and Y. I'm not volunteering this year. Whatever it is, you might make some sudden decision, but let that decision support your self care and get you out of a self sacrificing situation. You know, no, I am not going to bring the turkey again because this person doesn't treat me well at Christmas. So, no, I'm not doing the turkey. I'll do something else. You know, it can be simple stuff like that, but it's areas where you feel like it makes you feel alone and different and like you are sacrificing. The martyr energy is what you're here to break right now. Anywhere you feel like a martyr, you must be honest, get support, and break out. Now, the other thing that's here is Mars has gone into Capricorn. It's sort of squeezing over there, but it is conjunct Sun, Moon, very loosely Venus, but definitely it's conjunct Sun and Moon. However, Mars and Capricorn is definitely more of a grounding, productive energy. So this, even though it's clustered in with everything, making everything much more go big or go home. Like Mars and Capricorn will work hard for the big party. They will pour a lot of ambition into the last passionate hurrah. So my goodness, are people ever overdoing it right now? Oh my goodness, everybody. And it's probably been fun, but yeah, there's lessons of overdoing it. However, Mars in Capricorn is sort of the beginning of going into the Capricorn cycle, which is just a few days away. When the sun goes into Cap, and so is Mars, and we're going to see things get a little more calm and a little more settled. For now, over the solstice, which means the 19th, maybe even extend that all the way to the 21st, 22nd. Take it easy. You don't need to go, to that one last bit of shopping and drive like a maniac. You don't need, like I said, to you know, walk across the ice quickly because you said you'd get that one more, I don't know, specialty flavor of eggnog from this one store. Like, you don't need to. I'm reminding myself of this woman I see in the memes now on TikTok. She's great. She's this lady, I forget her name, but she's out there in this green tropical environment with her phone, and she's like, you don't need any more Walmart. You don't need another Amazon item. You don't need one more pair of shoes from Aldo. You are bored. Go clean your kitchen. And she's just great to like break you out of this like mindless consumption that happens at Christmas time. But it's because there's so much going on for people. Under the surface, there needs to be a release of old patterns and old loops. And so, like I said, when people don't really want to, they're like, no, I'm just going to keep drinking this last whiskey until I pass out. It's like, well, don't, don't sabotage yourself. Or I'm just going to, run to 5 more stores because I said I would. No, they can have one less thing. So what? Nobody's going to die from that. And then there's other things that are more dire that we really shouldn't be overdoing it with. Oh, well, my knee's been hurting for 5 days, but I'll just say yes to going on that long walk because I promised my sister. No, listen to your knee. Sagittarius rules the knees, by the way, the knees and the thighs. So all I'm saying, people, is right now there's a big pull in the air to overdo it. The overdoing it is because you're compensating for something you don't want to look at. And my whole my whole life, and now I'm just going to be more regularly out with this tone, is be honest with yourself. I'm tired of enabling people who don't want to be honest with themselves. And I'm not doing it with myself either. I don't I have not been letting myself off the hook to lie to myself and continue the same crap that I've been doing either. I've been making enormous changes. It doesn't show yet for a lot of us because so much has been internal this year, but a lot of us have made huge internal changes. Now, don't sabotage yourselves. All right, let's take a look at the tarot for this cycle. And I'm going to use my cool little deck, my non-traditional little deck, my real life tarot deck. You want to take a look for it online. It's pretty fun. Some of the cards are really not obvious what the hell they mean at all, and I don't really want to go checking a book. I just want to channel what it brings. Because it's novel, it can bring up more channeling on them, ironically, because we don't have preconceived notions of that card means this. It's like, no, we have no idea what this card means. There's a card called the donut. Well, what the heck's that mean? Um, I don't think there is a donut card in there, but there's funky cards. So let's just see what else, what other message are we needing during this time, during this new moon time. All right, so our first card is concern. See the caution tape. Well, I feel like I just said that. That's quite mirroring. So concern and caution, just, as I said, slow down a little. Slow down your pace, slow down your expectations, rest a bit. Don't overdo it. Second card is the rent-controlled apartment. You see how it's falling apart. Well, in general, as a message, that would sort of be, literally taking a look at your home, seeing if there's anything that needs fixing. Again, if there's anything you've been going, oh no, it's fine, and really it's not fine, you don't want a surprise. So if there's things that need to be addressed or fixed at home, within your home, could be anything. Maybe you realize you need to get a generator. Maybe you realize um, just fill a hole that some moisture could get in and prevent some future mold. Doesn't have to be big crumbling buildings like this card looks like. And a rent controlled apartment, it like also suggests neglect, right? Usually. So that can be just a more symbolic message of, are you, you know, what have you been neglecting to do? Or have you been neglecting yourself or your place in some way? Our third card is chance. Oh boy, there's a lottery and it says lose again, mega, 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 mega. It says mega, mega, not maga. It's almost the 777. Chance, lose again. Are you okay? So this definitely talks about, are you taking reasonable risks or are you taking foolish risks? That's another thing about that last party energy, is it can make us do stupid things. Again, when you don't want to face something and you wing it, what'll it do? One more time, I'll just do it. Sometimes that goes very badly, right? The cards are pretty clear, the planets are pretty clear. If you can spot yourself overdoing it in some way, you really owe it to yourself to calm down and slow down and stop and rest a bit for your own safety. on many levels. Now, because it is the solstice, I wanted to read from this book that I just got. I haven't read the whole thing, but I intend to. And for the messages for your sign, I'm going to do bibliomancy and open the book for your message. So bibliomancy is literally when you think of a question and you flip a book and you put your finger on a page and you read it, and that's your message. Or sometimes people think of their question, and then they pick a number, and then they go to that page and see where their eye wants to go. So we're going to do a bit of bibliomancy from this book. Isn't that pretty cover? This is the Hedge Witch Book of Days, Spells, Rituals, and Recipes for the Magical Year by Mandy Mitchell. So I'm going to read you just a little bit of what it says for December, just a little bit for fun. And then I'm going to do bibliomancy for your sign. Fun, eh? Okay. December. In the darkness, the sun shines bright, illuminating the land with its fertile light. Winter's still here, and cold days will come, but summers won't be long with the growing sun. Yes, the light is the darkest on the solstice, and it might even feel the darkest on the new moon, which is the 19th that we're describing because it's the dark moon. But it is the darkest time of the year, and then the light begins, which is hopeful. So, some correspondences that you want to think about for December, meaning, what areas of life, what birthstones, what herbs, what colors, what are the associations that help the energy in December? See if anything resonates or sticks out to you, because that might be your message. December correspondences. So the festival of Yule, winter solstice or midwinter. Symbols include Yule trees, so Christmas trees, Yule logs, holly and mistletoe, gifts and candles. You might be attracted to candles right now. Moon name it's the cold moon right now. Other names are the oak moon, the frost moon, the winter moon, the faithful moon, and moon before Yule. Astrological signs are Sagittarius and Capricorn. Birthstone is turquoise and tanzanite. Nature spirits are wood spirits and trolls. We'll see all these kinds of gnomes at this time of year. Look at even the Grinch. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Makes sense. He's not exactly a gnome, but he might be a troll. Animals are deer and squirrels. Yeah. And those can be, our magical animals. They can teach us a lot about what we need to do right now. Birds are the robin. Trees are the holly and the evergreens, which we see. We see boughs of holly and evergreens everywhere. The flowers are mistletoe, poinsettias, and hellebore. I don't know what hellebore looks like. The herbs are witch hazel, bay, and cinnamon. So an excellent time to have cinnamon tea. Just boil water with a cinnamon stick in it and drink it. It lowers your blood sugar and it keeps you warm. Scents are also cinnamon, cloves, and frankincense. Yes, everyone's raving online about clove tea and the benefits of cloves. So if you have cloves, you can just boil one of those in your water with your cinnamon and drink it. Or you might just want to boil it to have the scent of it in your house. And of course, a lot of people put them into oranges. Ta-da! They stick their cloves into the oranges at this time, and that's also a beautiful scent. Colors are red, white, and green. We know that. The goddess is Kale. Boy, I can't pronounce that. It's probably Gaelic. Kalyak. Sorry about that. The powers are peace, light and inner renewal. Other than that, it's the longest night. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, other days that are, important to us at this time of year. And then she goes into, different rituals that you can do. So if you're curious about this, I find it very nice. She gives recipes as well. It's a lovely book. All right. So you might get an interesting message since it's this kind of book. I can't guarantee that your message isn't going to be a recipe. I've never opened the book randomly. So let's just see, based on what the bibliomancy says, if it gives me a message for you. All right. So Aries. Aries, what is your message for this new moon? And the first thing I get is protecting your home. So it's giving different ways to protect your home. There's a few rituals that are simple, effective ways to bless your home, but here are some other ways that you can magically protect and bless the place you live. You can blow bubbles. She says, I know it sounds mad, but it's an enjoyable way to bless your home. You pour the bubble mix in a bowl, hold your hand over it, ask for it to be blessed with happiness and goodness, then go outside and blow the blessings everywhere. That's lovely. You can float balloons, although right now in this freezing cold weather, you might not, but you can blow up a balloon and float them up onto the roof. And again, imagine that your blessings are inside the balloons and they go out into the universe. Sweeping away negativity. You use a broom that's reserved just for this task. A bundle of twigs tied with some cleansing herbs makes a great energy clearing broom. So you can go around the house in a clockwise motion, sweeping out every room, end at the front door, and sweep the negativity out with the words, be gone. So, yeah, your home is your sanctuary, and it's important that you feel that your space is clean and clear. And often our space feels, well, first of all, one of the main things would be is, if things are not working, if something needs fixing, if something is invading the space, and that could be anything from a leak to a landlord, an unwanted visitor could be a squirrel or it could be your mother-in-law. So you need to bless and protect the energy of your home, even if you're having people over to it. So, sorry, I'm just very uncomfortable on this chair. I haven't figured out the right cushion for this chair. So I would say it's a good time to go around your place and use the sage, use the herbs, sweep, dust, and as you go, ask for prayers for your home or the people in it, and ask to be shown what you no longer need so that you can let it go. All right, Taurus, what is your solstice message? I'm hearing the number 16 for page 16 for you. All right. So, for you, it's also about clearing negativity. So it's giving more, again, advice on home clearing. So one simple way to clear your home, open your windows and doors. It says, watch out for escaping pets. Starting at the front door, light your chosen incense and just say, may this home be cleared and blessed. Work your way through the house clockwise in each room and holding the incense and keep repeating, may this home be cleared and blessed. So that's two messages of clearing and cleansing. So that's interesting. There's a few ways you can clear energy if you don't want to burn herbs and sage through your house, although that's great. You can also place a dish of salt on the kitchen table, and it helps any absorb any high emotions that spill from long conversations. You can add dried bay leaves to give that an extra boost. You can cut an onion in half and place the pieces around the house to absorb the energy, and you'll know, like it'll absorb it'll start to like shrivel up and go nasty, but it will absorb odors, and essentially it can draw um, negativity out of the atmosphere. You can have a bell. You can keep a small bell handy to ring whenever you feel the need to clear the air. And if you really, some of you, if you want, you might want witches' bells, um, which I can definitely attest to. They definitely clear a lot of energy out of your place. They're very protective. So if you find witches' bells, so Taurus, um, for whatever reason, sounds like you also need to purge some negativity from your home. All right, Geminis, what is your solstice message? What is your witchy message? Okay, I'm getting balancing family and magic. Balancing your family life with your magical life can be tough, even for the most organized of people. For normal, try not to get through the day without any disaster kind of people like myself, she says. Trying to achieve a balance between the magic and the day-to-day can sometimes seem impossible. Magic isn't something that should be viewed as a separate entity and should be seen as an everyday thing. Okay, well, that's interesting for Gemini. It doesn't have to be magic. What do you find you need to do to feel well that seems to be hard for you to find time for in the midst of your other responsibilities, which could be your family, but could be other things. So this is a message about integration to me. How are you going to integrate all sides of you better this year? How can you bring in, like, I don't know, if you need to go for a run, let's say, in order to feel like your head is clear, but you're finding it hard to have time to go for a run because there's so much going on at Christmas. So then you're torn between your needs and your family's needs. So integration is, how do you incorporate the running with the family? Can one of the kids come with you? Can you do the run around the parking lot while they're shopping for the groceries and change your route? I don't know. There's ways. It's asking you to integrate things so you don't feel you have to have separate lives in order to meet all your needs. That's a bloody profound message for Gemini, actually. All right, Cancers. Need a lot of water lately. With the heaters on, I'm needing a lot more water. I don't know about you guys. All right. And we're a water sign, Cancer, so that was quite timely. All right, Cancers. Oh, I'm hearing a number. 37. 37 for Cancer. All right. Huh. First thing I see here is athame. Do you know what an athame is? An athame is a knife or a dagger that is used for ceremonies and rituals. But unlike a normal kitchen knife, which should always be sharp, the athame should always be blunt because it's only used for cutting one thing, a hand fasting cake. So a wedding cake. That's interesting. Now, if you need a sharp knife to cut your hand fasting cake, it's probably inedible. Like a wand, your athame is mainly used to direct energy and to carve symbols and words onto candles. You can create your own athame by blunting a kitchen knife you already know on a piece of stone, or if you can, have a look in the charity and junk shops for a wooden handled knife. You can decorate the wooden handle just as you would decorate your wand. Okay, so first of all, you don't need to have one of those around, but the message in that seems pretty interesting. It's about having tools. It's about having the tools to cut and carve symbols and pathways, cut cords, bring in and carve symbols and bring things. So it is about having tools to do that. Now, you know, a witch will use their thame as that tool, but you do not need the knife. It could be a finger. A finger can draw a symbol. Fingers can symbolically cut. So can your mind. And so, what tools do you have? And that could be any kind of tools. Tools can be communication skills. It doesn't have to be all magic. What tools do you have right now for carving out your new life and for cutting your hand fasting cake? What tools do you have to basically take charge of your life more? Because using an athame and having symbols and candles and um, cutting cords and carving out lines is very directive. It's saying, this is what I want. This is the path. This is the symbol. That's what I'm going after. That's what I want. And you have the tools to do it. So this energy I'm giving you right now, it's sort of like playful, but it is precise. And this is what Cancer needs right now. Playful and precise. I want this, not that. Thank you. Nope, I'll take the red one. Thank you very much. Know what you want. Precisely. Ask. Go get it. Be light about it. I love that message for you. All right, Leos. I'm having fun with this book. Leos. What is your message, Leo? Oh, I'm hearing another number. 76. All right. Oh, interesting. Connecting with the outside world. Mm. Your work as a single energy with the world around you, quietly making each day magical for you and those around you, for the greater good of all. But sometimes it can be a lonely path, and with no one to talk to about your magic or your beliefs. No one to connect with, even to exchange ideas with. On the other hand, a coven or a group may not necessarily be the way you want to go because we're all human. Groups have a tendency to get a bit cliquey. You know what I mean. He said, she said kind of stuff. Groups that manage to maintain a balance are rare, but they do exist. So if you are after a group setting for your magic and you find a good one, hold on tight to it. Aha. So this is really a good message about have you been doing things alone too long? But it's not about just go join and accept whatever's there either. It's about discerning the right group. And when you do find that right group, even if it's two people, it's still a group. How are you going to hang on to them? And it doesn't mean desperately and tightly and codependently and sacrificing yourself. It means how are you going to hang on to it? Means How are you going to uplevel your skills to balance and hang on and work on the relationships with the people who are your team that are worth it? So you must ask yourself, am I alone? Am I a loner? If I join with people, have I chosen the right people? And if I have, am I am I hanging on to them? Am I working on these relationships to create the best harmony and balance and reciprocity in the group? And that is worth every penny so that you feel heard and seen. That's a big message for Leo, huh? Don't keep going it alone, Leo. But also the message with the planets, don't just sacrifice yourself to be part of something either. If it's really feeling right, do the work and keep it going. Virgos. For some reason I'm compelled to spray this while I'm in the Virgo. And what this, oh, this is beautiful. This, where did I get that? Crap. I was at a bunch of Christmas markets, so I cannot remember where I bought this, but it is a citrus balsam spray. So I'm just going to use this, and I think it's also a message. So, do you need to cleanse the air? Do you need a nice scent, some aromatherapy to calm you? Let's take a look at your message. Virgos. What is your message? Oh, I hear a number. I hear 222. Wow. It's a very high vibration number. Let's see. Ah, page 222 is thanks and blessings every day. That's lovely. I light this candle in the name of the goddess with thanks and blessings every day. So this is about lighting 3 candles, one for a goddess, one for Lord of the Green Wood, and one for all sentient beings. So basically to the overarching feminine energy, the overarching masculine energy, and for all sentient beings on the planet. 1 incense stick or loose incense, a few grains of salt, a few drops of water, and a bowl to act as your offering bowl. Now that's what the hedge witch would do. You don't have to do this exactly like that, but if you like to, you can. But it's definitely very symbolic right now in the darkest time and darkest day to light candles. And trinities are everywhere in every religion and every faith. And it doesn't have to be the goddess and the green man. It can be maiden, mother, crone. It can be women. It can be Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It can be past, present, future. It can be, as above, so below, and here on earth. It can be so many things, but it's for you, basically, is what I'm saying. Now, so I felt compelled to spray and clear the air and uplift myself. And if you give thanks and gratitude and you light some candles, and if you don't want to light your candles, that's fine. But the message is about elevating the energy, elevating yourself with thanks and gratitude at this time of year. It will help you as a Virgo to release all the details of crap that you see going on that is wrong, that needs to be fixed, or that could be better, right? Including people's personalities at Christmas dinners, whatever is going on at your work. You know, it's the antidote to help you release a lot of that stuff is be grateful. Make a list of what you're grateful for right now. It's going to help bring good energy. And if you, again, it's nice if you can light a candle and meditate on what you're grateful for. All right, Libras. what is your message this solstice? Hearing another number, 99. All right. It says here, remember that kids should play in the mud with sticks and stones and all things mucky. Nature is there to be explored, and nettles are there to sting. Let them learn about the world around them. And children should socialize too. Get the neighbors' kids involved. Children teach each other, and they are far less likely to be bored in the company of another child than they are with us. Safety is key, however. Watch from a distance, reclining on a picnic blanket if you want, and allow the little ones to run that energy off. If they can show a tiny piece of interest in anything, grab it and run with it. So this is talking a lot about parenting and childhood and wonder and letting people do their thing, be themselves, and go explore and learn their lessons the hard way if they need to, but with safety. So even though you might not be a parent, if you are a parent, then that could be a very literal message for you right now with your kids. If you're not, and your kids are older, then it could be still a matter of like, you don't always love your kids' choices or love who their friends are. And maybe you have to step back and let them have their learning curve. Keep an eye on them, but let them have their learning curve. And otherwise, it might be hearkening to you remembering how you were raised. Did you have a chance to play and explore and get all muddy? Or were you told to be a clean, proper little boy or little girl? And if you didn't get a chance to explore and go off and make a mess or break something because you didn't realize that it would break, whatever have you, if you didn't get that time to be a kid, you need it. You still need it. Your heart and soul still needs it. And Christmas is a great time. Holidays are a great time to let that side out. So right now, I would say indulge your inner child, indulge childlike things that help you feel like you're being playful and explorative. That's a lovely message for Libra. All right, Scorpios, what is your message? I'm going to take more water in the water signs. I did not do that on purpose, I swear to God. All right, Scorpio, what is your message for this solstice? Trying to clear my mind of some Scorpios that I know, so this is not based on them. Just the pure sign, Scorpio. Okay, I hear a number 236. What is your message, Scorpio? 236. Sticky honey and date tea loaf. Well, that sounds delicious, doesn't it? It takes so long to get around to clearing out the cupboards after the dreaded Christmas. Without fail, it seems I always have half a pot of honey left over from glazing holiday ham and a pack of dates no one wanted to eat. I really ought to stop buying them every year, but by the time we reach February, I need them because I can't bear to throw them away. And then she makes this tea loaf. So, what could that possibly mean as a message? Well, sticky honey, okay, honey and symbolism of bees is a big one. We need bees for everything to survive. Sticky honey would imply, a very thick, dense, nutrient rich, antibiotic level honey. Does your system need some strong antibiotics right now? And I don't mean medicine, I mean literal honey. Did you know that Manuka honey If you cut your finger and you put manuka honey on it, it will help heal the wound and disinfect the wound. So if you drink or eat a little bit of your manuka honey, that's pretty much like a thick, sticky honey that we're talking about. You might ward off, first of all, it'll take care of a lot of the dryness, and it might help prevent some illness. And otherwise, it's very just sweet and comforting to have. And dates are another, sweet carbohydrate. And if you imagine like a cake that's made with honey and dates, how rich that would be, how nice, rich and sweet. So I wonder, Scorpio, are you craving things that are rich and sweet right now, or are they missing from life? Because it just sounds so delicious and enjoyable, doesn't it? Sure does to me. So it's sort of a message like the one hand is the healing of the honey, the other hand is the indulgence. Like, are you letting yourself indulge? Or maybe are you doing it too much? But to me, it's a message of healing versus indulgence. And sometimes healing is indulging yourself. If you're always like, oh no, I better not, I can't let myself have this and that, X and Y. Oh no, better restrict this, better hold back, better hold it in, as a lot of Scorpios you do, until you don't, and then you unleash, you know. Um, Maybe it's time to let yourself have a little indulgence, enjoy some extra chocolate or some extra cheese or a second helping during the holidays and not always have to be so strict with yourself. That's one message. If you've been more on the indulgence side, maybe you do need some healing, and the honeys and the honeybee is just such a powerful symbol. I mean, bees, it's a miracle that they can fly, right? They are like a freak of gravity. Well, freak of gravity, that's not the best way to say that, but you know what I mean? They defy gravity, is what I mean, because they're so heavy with their tiny wings. How the heck do they fly? And they definitely speak about healing and fertility and healing the planet. And the feeling I get as I say it for you, though, is that you might need a break from always being concerned. You might need a little bit of nice, sticky cake. And you might want to think, who am I going to share that with? Yeah. Sagittarius. I'm eating the orange I showed you beforehand. All right. Sagittarius, by the way, happy birthday to you all. We're just 2 days away from the sign being done, so you probably had it already. Hope you had a nice birthday. What is your message for the solstice? And I'm getting a number 199. Okay. All right. Building your knowledge. Well, didn't we say that? Beginning. Possibly feeling compelled to study, read, further your knowledge. Whatever journey we may be on, we must always grow and learn as we go along. After all, there would be absolutely no point in standing still. There wouldn't be a journey at all. It'd be more like a bus stop. No one ever knows everything. And if people tell you they do, then they are telling you porky pies. There's always more that we can learn, and building your knowledge can be an amazing, eye-opening experience. You know what it's like if you spend any time on the internet, you find one thing and it spirals off into another thing until you find yourself looking at something far removed from where you started. So once you have your core knowledge, How do you start building on it? Well, if you're going to build on anything, first make sure that the foundation is secure. No building was ever stable without strong foundations. And the same goes for your knowledge. So she has some tips for that. First, learn and review the basics. Decide what you need to know. So you don't have to know all of it. Cast a wide net. Search a number of sources for the information you need to fill out your knowledge. Yes, that's a good idea. Don't rely on just one source like ChatGPT to tell you everything. Find multiple sources. Planning your time. Yes. Planning, setting aside study time. Being patient, taking things slowly, recording everything, and dealing with your doubts along the way. Using what you've learned, not just passively absorbing more info and going, oh yeah, actually put it into practice. All right, that's a lot of info. So I think the message here is, how do you build on the knowledge you already have? I like that. That's what stuck with me there. Eat more of my orange. Um, that's what stuck with me. So you already know a lot. You're a Sag. Probably you've been either very experienced, have tried a bunch of things, have done unconventional things. Maybe you've read or listened to books or art or movies that most people don't. Maybe you've traveled a lot. So, and that's like comparative to, your environment, your family of origin, or, your general crowd where you live. You probably have explored and you have some knowledge. So, what's the next level then? What do you want to do with it? How specialized do you want to be? Do you need to take a brand new direction, brand new courses, brand new area of study? Do you need to up level, like they said, multiple sources? Look at other academics, look at other people who are in that field, see what's cutting edge. So to me, this is really a calling for you for going forward of it's time to expand and improve yourself. Don't just like wing it and rest on your laurels. It's time to keep learning and exploring and adding and up leveling yourself. Yeah, it's a strong message for you. Okay. Capricorn, what is your message for the solstice? And by the way, happy birthday to those Capricorns coming up. I hear a number, but I don't know if there's even that many pages in there. No. Okay. I heard the number 309, but it's not there. All right. Well, I randomly flipped it open to this. The bedroom. The bedroom. This is the room we spend so much time in, although it sometimes feels as if we're never in it. The bedroom can be arranged magically to help you get a good night's sleep, to bring you wonderful dreams, and perhaps encourage a hint of passion once in a while. A comfortable bed and soft colors help this room become a sanctuary. But here are a few other ways you can magically empower a bedroom to get through your day-to-day life. Are you ready? Of course you are. You can create an altar, a mini altar on top of your dresser to symbolize what you want in your bedroom. You can use crystals. Arrange a few crystals in a tray to create a focus or peace in the room. Sachets, lavender, oats, other herbs for peaceful sleep. You can place holly under the bed to stop nightmares. You can put oils, wiping down your bedroom light bulbs with essential oil of lavender or rose to spread the fragrance. Yeah, that's a great little trick if you don't know it. And I did that a little bit just before I started this, but I put it on my laptop because the laptop also gets hot. I took orange essential oil because sweet orange is like very, it's happy, it's joyful, it's clearing the mind, and it helps, in a time like this to enliven us in the darkest day. So just a drop on a light bulb, not while it's on, rub it on the light bulb when the light bulb's off. When you turn it on, it's going to act like a diffuser. And like I said, I put it on my laptop. You can anything that's got that heats up can become a diffuser. So that's nice. So orange would probably, like I said, it enlivens you up. For sleep, you want maybe lavender or eucalyptus. Um, Pine is beautiful, rosemary. If you need to just really clear your energy field, you could put rosemary. Um, Water. Have a special glass filled with water next to your bed, charged with purifying you to make you ready for sleep. Keeping a notepad for your dreams to help encourage your dreams. Flowers. Having fresh flowers or small branches of foliage near your bed for peace and love, passion. And a bell. Again, keep small bell by your bed to ring as you retire. This can chase away negative thoughts. So that's interesting. It's all about the bedroom, about attracting what you want, sleeping well, banishing nightmares. So, Cap, have you been sleeping okay? Do you need to sleep better? Do you need to use your bedroom and your sleep time as your manifestation time? That's your message. Aquarius, what is your message for the solstice? Dun, 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 dun. Aquarius. All right. Hmm. So what I flip to for you is foods that are at their best in January. So this is obviously a message of eating well for you. So I'm just going to read you the fruits and vegetables, seafood, and wild foods that are at their best in January. So this to me, take it as a symbolic suggestion or a literal if you wish, if something strikes you that, oh yeah, I should eat more of that or less of this. Brussels sprouts, blood oranges, cauliflower, celery, cabbage, chicory, cranberries, clementines, rhubarb, Jerusalem artichoke, kale, leeks, onions, pears, parsnips, potatoes, purple sprouting broccoli, pomegranates, shallots, turnips, and walnuts. All sounds delicious, doesn't it? These are all good winter foods. Seafood you want, I'm not going to read all of them, but clams, halibut, lemon sole, mussels, sea bass, scallops, turbot. And wild foods, chickweed, duck, goose, mallard, oyster mushrooms, pheasant, truffles, venison. So some fancy foods. Now, why would food come up for you, Aquarius? Have you been eating well? Have you been sort of blah, not really eating meals, preparing meals, not really enjoying your food? Because that can suggest a bunch of things, right? Maybe you're not getting proper nutrition, so your energy's low, your mood is low. It's on a basic level there. It can also signify whether you feel depressed or you feel more passionate, because usually when we feel more alive and passionate, we put more energy into our foods and our variety and our cooking. Or if you're going out, then you're more willing to go, ooh, what is that? Let's try that. That sounds amazing, right? Um, it can mean you need more variety in your life. It's your diet, but you need more variety. So if you've been sort of going to bed with a glass of wine and a bag of chips for too long, you got to stop that stuff. You need some real food. You need your taste buds need to awaken to the variety that is out there and healthy variety. And it feels to me like you probably need more nutrition. Um, so that's a lot of us. But if you can recognize that you're in a phase where you haven't been doing that. And also just like the Scorpio one with the honey tea, the honey date cake, like this sticky, yummy cake to indulge in and, hopefully share with someone. Well, that's the image for them, like, ooh, let's share this like really rich cake together. Yours is different. Yours is like almost the image of maybe like a Japanese restaurant and the grill is out and we can see everything being cooked fresh and there's all these vegetables and nuts thrown in and you can smell you've got the steam and you can smell everything wafting and you share this beautiful dinner with somebody in a very clean zen feeling atmosphere together. That's more your vibe than the, oh, tell me about this under the with the cake. That, right, yours is a different vibe. So it suggests to me that you need to be healthier and also more social and sharing meals and cooking better. And that's really a foundation for so many things, but it does dictate your mood and it might be a message for your health on other levels. And it can calm your nervous system to cook and to eat well, right? Whereas the wine and the chips don't, as much as we've all been there. All right, Pisces. And yes, I will take one more drink of water for the water sign. All right, Pisces, what is your message for the solstice? I'm hearing a number 227. All right. Hmm. It's talking about witchy ways to celebrate January. So we're not over with Christmas yet, but we're 10 days away from January. Even though we're sort of like, no, I'm just gonna go through Christmas, it's forever. No, January's like really close. It's really close. 11 days, 12 days, 12. Depends when you watch this. The new moon's the 19th, so that's 12 days away. So prepare for January. So this is saying, think of preparing for the new year already. It is a new year for a lot of people. Solstice, winter solstice is the biggest time of the year and the new year and honoring the ancestors and honoring the return of the light. So it's basically saying just get your thing on for January and start clearing the energy. Decorate your home with an altar with violet and white. Burn pine or musk. Use pine needles as you focus on your new beginnings. Cook with love and try new things to spark for the new year. Honor your place in the world and joy in your heart by creating daily practice. I like that. Think about a new daily practice that can be quite simple, but you're going to do it daily that brings you a good, solid, optimistic sense of the year. Maybe like one of mine is I'm going to incorporate Tai Chi, just a video in the morning. And I keep saying it and I haven't done it, but I'm going to make myself get up, stop checking the phone, and delay checking the phone for just 15 minutes and do some Tai Chi in the morning and start to feel that flow and start to get out of the stiffness and the stuckness. You know, that's one that I'm going to do. You can use it. But think about what would be a nice daily ritual for January for you to bring in a new feeling. Yeah, I'm going to leave it just there because I think this is lovely the way it is. So clean, clear, decorate, and create. Think about a new ritual for the winter that would bring you a lot of peace or hope or motivation. Well, I enjoyed doing that. I hope you enjoyed this book. And I wanted to bring in a more pagan, witchy feeling for this particular solstice, because that's what guides were telling me. So I'm sharing it with you. So if you are still listening by now and you would like a reading, I am available online. I'll be away, but I'm available virtually on Zoom. So you can message me and I'll give you my availability. And if you want to join my group, the Intuition Cafe, it's free on Facebook. And we have a new cafe in the town where I am. And I intend to start some events again because it's just so nice to have somewhere nearby and it's cozy and they're open to it. So let me just take the Christmas time to rest, and then I'll come back to you with some events. So hopefully people want to get out the door and merry meet again. All right. I wish you a wonderful solstice, wonderful new year, happy Christmas, and happy new year. I'll see you again for the full moon.